Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News on LA56.
He just beat me. For what? What did I do? What did I do to him?
It's video that sparked anger and outrage. Now the woman caught on tape being punched by a CHP officer breaks her silence.
For the second time in the past few weeks, an alleged burglar is shot and killed by a resident in Long Beach. We're learning new details about that crash involving NASCAR racing star Tony Stewart that killed another driver in New York. Good evening, I'm Jory Rand.
I'm Giovanna Lotta. Welcome to Eyewitness News on LA56. For the first time, the woman who was beaten by a CHP officer on the side of the 10 freeway is speaking out.
That beating was caught on tape. Eyewitness News first broke the story of the beating itself with this video, which sparked widespread condemnation and allegations of police brutality. Now, we're bringing you the very first interview with the woman at the center of it all. Marlene Pinnock and her attorney, Carrie Harper, sat down today with Eyewitness News anchor Mark Brown. She says she feared for her life on that July day as the CHP officer pummeled her repeatedly in the head.
He literally beat me like I was a man. Using strength that he would use on a man, like he would use on, like they used on Rodney King.
The part that we saw of what happened to you, this officer is on top of you, and he's hitting you with his fists. What was going through your mind at that point?
I think he was trying to kill me. I think he was trying to beat me to death. He was just socking me with all his strength, looked like this way up from above to give me all he had. For no reason, I did nothing to him.
The CHP has not publicly identified the officer, but a federal civil rights lawsuit filed by Pinnock names him as Officer Daniel Andrew. The CHP says it placed the officer on non-road patrol duties while the investigation continues, which could take several more weeks. More of Mark Brown's interview with Pinnock coming up tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7.
Meanwhile, standing along an on-ramp to the 10 freeway near the scene of the beating, civil rights leaders called on Governor Jerry Brown to intervene. Members of the LA Urban Policy Roundtable say they've sent a letter to the governor urging him to force the CHP to disclose what action it will take against the officer involved. The letter is signed by 15 civil rights organizations. They say the CHP has dodged the issue now for 7 weeks.
All we're doing is just essentially holding the CHP, holding the California Highway Patrol Commissioner to his own promise. Fast-track investigation, transparency, the disclosure, full disclosure to the public and the community of what we decided to do. We have no information about that.
The civil rights leaders say the officer must be punished for his actions. They say he needs to be fired or even prosecuted.
We've just learned the identity of the alleged burglar shot and killed by a resident in Long Beach. The coroner says he's 29-year-old Ryan Anderson of Long Beach. The shooting happened early this morning on the 2800 block of East 3rd Street. Eyewitness News reporter Melissa McBride has the latest.
I heard 3 shots, which I thought were firecrackers, but they were shots.
Dina Malonis was awake this morning when she heard gunfire. Then she heard the woman next door screaming,
"Help me, help me."
And
that's when I went into panic mode, and then I saw all of Long Beach Police Department from one corner to the other, and I knew something was wrong.
Long Beach police were called to the 2800 block of 3rd Street just before 2:30 for a burglary in progress. When they arrived at the home, they found an alleged burglar dead inside. The couple who lives there was not injured. Some neighbors say there have been more car break-ins and burglaries recently in the Bluff Heights neighborhood.
It was pretty shocking. I mean, I just walked outside to walk the dog and there's police tape everywhere. It's not exactly what I was expecting for my typical Sunday morning.
This is the second burglary in Long Beach in less than 3 weeks that ended with the resident killing the alleged burglar. Police say an 80-year-old man in the Bixby Knolls neighborhood was beaten by 2 suspects. He was able to get to his gun and shot at them while they were still inside his house. They fled, he followed, and fatally shot one suspect running away. Some people we talked to say that they have little sympathy for the 2 suspected burglars shot dead by the residents they were allegedly trying to rob.
I say goodbye to all of them. You're doing bad, you need to go, man. That's it.
Neighbors say this isn't the first time this home has been burglarized. Meantime, the coroner has not yet identified the suspect. Reporting in Long Beach, I'm Melissa McBride, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
In Signal Hill, homicide detectives are investigating the death of a toddler. The 2-year-old boy was not breathing when deputies arrived early this morning. He later died at the hospital. Eyewitness News reporter Leanne Suter has more on the investigation.
Police put up crime tape around a Signal Hill apartment after a 2-year-old boy dies.
That baby yesterday, it looked like something was wrong with it because I finally said something about it. I was like, dang, that baby knocked out. Looks like the baby dying. I said that.
Signal Hill police were called to the apartment on Lewis Avenue around 5:45 this morning regarding a baby not breathing. When they arrived, they immediately began CPR, but the toddler was unresponsive. He was rushed to the hospital where he was pronounced dead.
There are some indicators and some evidence that led Signal Hill police to contact the sheriff's department to resume this investigation.
Authorities won't say what that is, only that it's too early to determine if the toddler's death is criminal in nature. An autopsy will determine how he died. The baby's mother, her boyfriend, and several other family members lived in the apartment. Neighbors say the police came to the home a few days ago to check on the welfare of the baby, but friends say they didn't suspect anything unusual, at least not until yesterday.
The eyes was a little dark. That's what really ticked me off. The eyes was turning like brownish, like my color complexion. The baby was Mexican. The eyes was all dark. I was like, dang, it looked like the baby dying.
Again, detectives say at this point the case is only classified as a death investigation, but say there are some questionable circumstances. They're awaiting autopsy results to determine how that little boy died. In Signal Hill, Leanne Suter, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Tragedy on the track after star driver Tony Stewart kills a fellow race car driver during a race last night in upstate New York. Kevin Ward Jr. was struck by Stewart's car on the racetrack following a crash with the 3-time champion. Here's ABC's Lindsay Janis.
Tragedy at this upstate New York dirt racetrack. 3-time NASCAR champion Tony Stewart hits and kills driver Kevin Ward Jr. This video, shot by a spectator, then posted on YouTube, shows Ward getting out of his car, apparently trying to confront Stewart. The video has since been taken down. During the race, Ward's car spins out, hitting the wall. Ward gets out of his car and angrily walks onto the track. As Stewart's car passes the 20-year-old driver, it appears the car's right rear hits Ward. Ward rushed to a nearby emergency room, but died from his injuries. Local police now investigating the incident.
Are you looking into the possibility that Stewart may have swerved at the last minute, deliberately waiting to the last minute to get out of the way?
This is an ongoing investigation, and we are looking at any information that's relevant to the crash.
Controversy has followed Stewart since his rookie year of NASCAR driving. In 1999, he jumped out of his car in the middle of a race.
Tony Stewart here was out of his car, throwing his gloves.
In 2011, Stewart was arrested by Australian police after assaulting a track owner. The charges were later dropped. And in 2013, a heated argument with Joey Logano turned into a fist fight. Stewart was slated to race today at New York's Watkins Glen. His manager issuing a statement last night saying it was, quote, business as usual. But today, that decision was reversed. Stewart decided not to participate.
It's just an unbelievable tragedy. Our hearts go out to obviously Kevin and his family.
Stewart later expressing his remorse, tweeting, "There aren't words to describe the sadness I feel about the accident that took the life of Kevin Ward Jr."
That was Lindsay Janis reporting. The Sheriff's Department says criminal charges have not been ruled out.
Turning to our weather now, Danny Romero has a first look at your forecast. Hey there, Danny.
Hey, Giovanna and Jory. Sunday night looking pretty good over Southern California, and oh yes, the super moon. There's a great shot. Mike back in the controls getting us some great views over our Burbank camera live at an HD super moon. Right now the cloud cover minimal, so we can get really great shots of that super moon happening right now, and certainly a nice comfortable night temperature-wise. Still some summer numbers on the inland areas. 82 in Ontario right now. Same for Riverside, 82 degrees. Showing 86 in Palmdale, 88 in Victorville. A little bit cooler as we head towards the west, so on the beach areas, we're showing you 74 at Long Beach, 68 at Santa Monica, Oxnard at 64. In between, very mild numbers. 78 for Burbank. We're showing a 72 in downtown LA right now. We're seeing some clouds moving in later on tonight into the early morning hours. 66 will be the overnight low under those partly cloudy skies. And then That monsoonal moisture is at play once again. I'll show you how it affects us when I come back with a live Mega Doppler 7000 HD 7-day forecast in just a little bit. Jory and Giovanna, right now, all yours.
Danny, thanks. It can be a dangerous endeavor for journalists covering the conflict between Israel and Hamas on the Gaza Strip. That was an airstrike that sent CNN correspondent Martin Savage diving to the floor. Another blast soon follows. The target was near the CNN bureau in Gaza City. Israel and Hamas have agreed to another 72-hour ceasefire proposed by Egypt. It's expected to go into effect at midnight local time. The decision allows for renewed negotiations on a long-term truce. More than 1,900 Palestinians have been killed so far in this latest round of conflicts, as well as 67 people on the Israeli side. Today in Westwood, hundreds of supporters of both Gaza and Israel clashed in dueling demonstrations outside the federal building. At one point, members of the pro-Palestinian faction walked across the street right into the pro-Israel crowd. Despite a lot of shouting from both sides, the demonstrations were peaceful. Law enforcement officers were out in force to make sure the protests didn't get out of hand. The LAPD says no arrests were made.
Now to Iraq. U.S. warplanes carried out more air raids today against Islamic militants. Kurdish forces have also recaptured 2 towns previously taken over by ISIS. It's the first victory for the Kurdish military in quite some time. Meanwhile, a new round of U.S. airstrikes has destroyed armored vehicles, including one firing on Kurdish forces near the city of Erbil. The U.S. Central Command confirms these were the 4th rounds of airstrikes on Islamic militants since President Obama authorized them on Thursday.
Eyewitness News returns with these new stories, including an actor and pro wrestler who is now expressing his gratitude after his family survives a serious car crash.
Plus, a trip to an amusement park goes terribly wrong for dozens of people in Maryland. We'll show you the rescue effort needed to get people off a roller coaster stuck on the track.
And scary moments for a Florida family after a 10-year-old girl is bitten by a shark. We'll have reaction from witnesses who saw the terrifying ordeal.
In China, an emotional ceremony to remember the victims of last week's deadly earthquake. Dozens gathered for a vigil last night. They lit candles and encouraged survivors of the magnitude 6.1 earthquake to rebuild their lives and their community. Authorities say at least 615 people were killed and more than 3,000 hurt when the quake struck last Sunday. It was the country's deadliest earthquake in 4 years.
Hurricane Julio has now been downgraded to a Category 1 storm as it moves away from Hawaii. Julio is lingering northeast of the islands, posing no threat, only bringing some hot and muggy weather. Hawaiians are still recovering from Tropical Storm Ezel. It knocked down power lines and trees on the Big Island when it made landfall early Friday, but didn't cause any major damage or injuries. It was the first time in 22 years a tropical storm hit Hawaii. And a messy scene in Ventura when a tree toppled over on a house. Ventura police responded to the home on Francis Street around 2:40 this afternoon. The good news, nobody was home at the time and no one was injured. The incident shut down parts of Francis Street for a short time, but the area has since been reopened.
And Danny Romero joining us now to talk about our own muggy weather, very tropical.
And we still have some more of that going on. So it's, it's tropical, minus, I guess, coconuts. Unless you have some nearby. Let's go outside, see how things looking on this tropical night. And oh, I tell you what, Mike is working overtime at the controls, finding us some great shots of that super moon. Say it with me, Jory. I knew he liked it. Here we go, looking out from our Long Beach camera. There she is in the distance, shining brightly and ever so much. Can you feel it closer? Because it apparently really, really is. Here's our downtown camera, and here are the skies getting just a few clouds in, but nothing too bad lately. 72 degrees right now. Relative humidity at 68%. Our barometer on the rise now at 29.90. We just passed sunset a little while ago. Let me give you a great shot. Here's our Big Bear camera showing the sun setting on the lake. And a beautiful view of some of those clouds in the skies, giving us some of those great colors at sunset time. Outside we go. And let me give you an idea what's going on with this. With our onshore flow, there's some clouds caused by the marine layer. And so this low up towards the north of us, up around the Bay Area, with that counterclockwise motion, that's what's pushing onshore that marine layer. But what's also happening for us is our weather's starting to turn around a little bit more because we have this high to our east. This high with its clockwise motion is bringing up some of this tropical moisture. This low helping to bring in some moisture as well. So we'll see some mountain and desert areas getting more of those tropical clouds here for another couple of days, and with those clouds, a chance of some of those summer thunderstorms once again. Here's our numbers tonight. Down to 60 at Wrightwood, 64 in Lancaster, and Redondo Beach gets down to 68. Tomorrow, the clouds in the morning clear out, and so by the afternoon, Malibu gets to 77. We'll see a 91 in Northridge, Pasadena to 90 degrees. Wrightwood warms up to 75, a gorgeous 91 in Beaumont tomorrow with Palm Springs at 104. Here's our 7-day power back weather and giving you clouds through the morning hours on the beaches. And then warmer later in the afternoon. That marine layer does its work keeping temps below average for the next few days and into the week. By week's end, a little less of that, and we'll see sunshine and mostly sunny skies, 83 for the high. Valleys and the Inland Empire will be warm with those clouds feeling kind of humid for a couple of more days. And then when that humidity moves out, the heat stays. We go from 90 up to 92, and then by the weekend, a nice warm 93 for Saturday and Sunday. Here's a look at the mountains, and that thunderstorm chances are there with that humidity in place and the warm temps in the mid-70s for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then less humidity, still some clouds there, but otherwise mostly sunny skies heading towards a warm weekend where temps will get to that mid to upper 70s range. Our high deserts will have those thunderstorm chances as well tomorrow and Tuesday too, and then just plain desert hot as we head towards midweek and towards the weekend. We'll see numbers go from that 95 on Tuesday to 96 and 97 by Friday, heading into next weekend, which should be a hot desert weekend, but not quite as muggy.
Okay. Right. Thank you, Danny.
Danny, thanks. 24 roller coaster riders are back on firm ground tonight after getting stuck at the top of a ride at Six Flags America in Maryland. It took rescuers about 5 hours to get them down from the Joker's Jinx ride. They were upright, but they were stranded 75 feet in the air. Firefighters brought them water, sunscreen, and umbrellas to shield them from the hot sun. There are no reports of any injuries other than some cramps and some back pain tonight. Six Flags says it doesn't know what caused the coaster to suddenly stop. The ride will remain closed until the park completes its investigation.
I think I might have needed some oxygen, too, to calm down. That's scary. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is expressing his gratitude after his mom and cousin survived a serious crash by an alleged drunk driver. The actor and pro wrestler posted this picture of the wreckage on Instagram. The head-on crash apparently happened last week. The Rock says his first reaction was to go and find the person who nearly killed his loved ones, but then he says he realized the most important thing was that his family survived. It's unclear where the accident happened or the extent of his family members' injuries.
A day at the beach turns into a frightening, painful ordeal for a 10-year-old Florida girl.
She was apparently bitten by a shark. The girl was wading in shallow water in Cocoa Beach when she was bitten. Bystanders heard her screaming and helped her to shore.
Well, they all streaked over there. They were pretty quick to help out with everybody and got her ice down and got her out of there real quick and so forth. And yeah, they did a great job. Those guys really did a great job.
The girl has bite marks on her right foot and ankle. She was taken to the hospital and is expected to be okay. Lifeguards briefly closed the beach immediately after the incident. No word on what type or size of shark it may have been.
A family in Canada got quite a scare when lightning struck their summer cottage in Nova Scotia. The strike left scorch marks along the wall and blew out wiring. Jeff and Jessica Cormier say it even left a hole in her one-year-old son's playpen.
I walked in the room and the first thing that hit me was the smell of burnt plastic, and a haze of smoke was filling the room, and I just grabbed the baby and yelled out fire and ran and got the kids and everybody out of the house.
Fortunately, no one was injured in the lightning strike.
From fast food to fine dining.
Still to come on Eyewitness News, we'll show you how one restaurant is stepping up their game right here in Southern California.
And if you've ever dreamed of going to college far away, well, now you can tour the campus and feel as if you're really there. We'll explain.
From fast food to fine dining, it's the latest trend to hit the fast food world.
Now Taco Bell is trying a new upscale menu right here in Southern California. The first U.S. taco company is almost open in Huntington Beach. ABC's Brandy Hitt has the details.
You wouldn't know from looking at it, but this is Taco Bell, the restaurant company that brought you the Waffle Taco. And Fiery Doritos Locos Taco Supreme is going upscale, now serving up brisket smoked in Texas and lobster flown in from the North Atlantic in a $9 taco. All at this new restaurant in Huntington Beach, U.S. Taco Company. It's the latest trend as fast food chains struggle to survive, competing against fresh and natural fast casual options like Chipotle and Panera, which have seen their sales rise 13% and are expected to grow by an average of 10% through 2017. Compare that to fast food chains with sales just below 5%. Even McDonald's is trying to keep up, offering McCafe lattes, and Popeyes revamped its restaurant image to focus on its Louisiana roots.
That was Brandy Hitt reporting. U.S. Taco Company is set to open tomorrow. Check it out.
I think we will. Today, Southwest Airlines launched daily service from Orange County to Mexico. The first flight from John Wayne Airport left to Los Cabos at noon. An airline spokesman says after acquiring AirTran Airways recently, it was time to transfer the international flights to the Southwest brand. Ruby Soto was one of the first passengers on the first flight to Los Cabos. She says she and her family couldn't pass up the price and the policy allowing 2 free bags per passenger.
It's so exciting, a little nerve-wracking, but first time flying Southwest and actually first time flying this airport. Normally we fly LAX, but so far so good.
Southwest says it hopes to add more service to Mexico in the fall and may even include Mexico City as a destination.
New at 8, if you've ever wanted to visit the college of your dreams, now you're in luck. And you don't even have to get on a plane or drive there. You can just take a virtual tour. Using a virtual reality headset, you can visit any participating university. Right now, Oculus isn't widely available, but the creators say the virtual tours could be used at college fairs and recruitment events. Students who tested the headset say it felt like they were actually back on campus.
Pretty cool. Much more news still to come on Eyewitness News here on LA56. The woman beaten by a CHP officer gives her very first interview.
She sat down with our own Mark Brown. Video of the beating has sparked anger and outrage. Hear more of what she has to say. Plus this.
The search is on right now for a shooter who went on a rampage in Moreno Valley. 7 people were rushed to the hospital. I'm Hugh McCrae. Your full story is coming up.
And we'll tell you what's now being blamed for forcing passengers to evacuate a flight headed to New York.
Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News on LA56.
Making headlines at 8:30 for the first time, the woman who was beaten by a CHP officer on the side of the 10 freeway is speaking out. That beating was caught on tape. Welcome back to Eyewitness News on LA56. I'm Giovanna Lotta.
And I'm Jory Rand. Eyewitness News first broke the story of the beating itself with that video, which sparked widespread condemnation and allegations of police brutality. Marlene Pinnock and her attorney, Carrie Harper, sat down today with Eyewitness News anchor Mark Brown. She says she feared for her life on that July day as the CHP officer pummeled her repeatedly in the head.
It was hard bangs, hard, like he was just trying to beat me to death, like he was trying to kill me.
What, was he saying anything to you?
He wasn't saying no reason. He was just socking me, just beating me.
Did you do anything to provoke or cause him to do what he did?
I didn't. That's what I can't understand. Why? I can't understand why, because I did nothing to him.
That video was beginning to go viral when we first reported the story. The Highway Patrol Commissioner has promised to fast-track the investigation into the incident. The agency says it's placed the officer on non-road patrol duties. The CHP will not release his name or make him available for comment, but a federal civil rights lawsuit filed by Marlene Pinnock names the officer as Daniel Andrew. Pinnock was taken to a county mental health facility for evaluation after the incident. She is out now, but says she is still in pain from the beating.
The search is on for a gunman who opened fire on a Moreno Valley home, leaving 7 teenagers wounded. The shooting broke out during a wild house party. Neighbors say deputies had already been to the house on the 16,000 block of Heather Glen Drive, but left before the shooter opened fire. Eyewitness News reporter Q McCrae tells us what happened next.
They had like 3 or 4 rounds and it just started going to like an automatic.
He's recounting the shooting rampage overnight outside this Moreno Valley home.
Everybody started running that way and people start falling and help me.
Andre Spikes and Kenneth Johnson were 2 of the 50-plus partygoers there. They told us it was a moving out party. We noticed this eviction notice on the front door dated for today. They say things went south when a raucous party crasher was asked to leave.
People were drunk, and I guess the lady was like saying it's time to go, so I guess he took that advantage and went to the car across the street, so everybody was leaving. He just opened fire. I heard like 4 shots, and then the party was over. Everybody came outside, and then it was about a good 15 more, non-stop.
They scrambled for cover. Trying to avoid getting hit by the gunfire, a lot of the partygoers jumped fences just like this one right here, breaking them in the process. We counted at least 5 other homes with damage just like this. Alejandra Estoto's fence included.
My fence broken into. I mean, they tried to actually escape. I don't know what, but yeah, my fence got broken down.
If you're going to hit that fence or you're going to get shot. And everybody's going to hit that fence.
According to the Riverside Sheriff's Office, the emergency call of shots fired came in just after midnight. Evidence of the mayhem is still scattered all over the neighborhood. In all, 7 people were shot. They will all survive. Authorities have little information about the shooter they're looking for. If you have any information about this shooting, contact the Riverside County Sheriff's Office at 951-247-8700. In Moreno Valley, I'm Q McCrae, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
A suspected drug dealer has been shot by deputies in South LA. The shooting happened early this morning on 118th Street and Main Street. Authorities say the man was known to sell narcotics and was in that alleyway. They learned he was also possibly armed. When a deputy attempted to approach him, they say he pulled out a gun and pointed it at the deputy. That deputy fired, hitting the suspect in the midsection. He was taken to the hospital. No word on his condition tonight. No deputies were hurt in the shooting.
A multiple vehicle crash on the 60 freeway claims the life of 1 man and leaves 5 others hurt. It happened just before 4:30 this morning in the City of Industry. The chain reaction was set into motion when a white SUV collided with another car on the eastbound side near Fairway Drive. Moments later, a 3rd vehicle driving in the HOV lane crashed into that white SUV, catching on fire. Then a 4th vehicle hit and killed the man who was riding inside the SUV. 3 people were taken to the hospital with critical injuries. 2 others have minor injuries.
California may become the first state in the nation to require universities to set a standard definition of consensual sex. The legislation already passed in the state Senate in May, and it goes before the Assembly this month. It would require schools that receive public funds for student financial aid to set what's called an affirmative consent standard that could be used in investigating allegations of sexual assault. This comes as pressure mounts for colleges to do more to stop sexual assault. But critics say the law goes too far and could be problematic for universities.
New here at 8, a plane makes an unexpected landing on a Northern California street. According to the Fresno Bee, the single-engine aircraft landed just south of a runway near Sierra Sky Park in Fresno this morning. Authorities say the plane lost power and was forced to make a crash landing. So far, no injuries have been reported. No word on what caused the plane to lose power.
An update now to a story we brought you last night. A bird strike is to blame for an engine fire on board a JetBlue flight about to leave for New York City. Nearly 200 people were forced to evacuate down emergency slides just moments before the plane was about to take off from Puerto Rico. Passengers described hearing a massive explosion that produced lots of smoke. Officials say the engine was completely destroyed. 3 injuries were also reported, though their extent is unknown tonight.
Now to Missouri, where tensions are high after an unarmed teenager was shot dead by a police officer. Details of the incident are now in question. ABC's Bazi Kanani has more.
Hundreds of determined protesters still marching more than 24 hours after the police shooting of an unarmed teenager.
No justice!
Noon on Saturday, 18-year-old Michael Brown, just days away from starting college, lay dead in the street. A police officer stopped Brown and a friend while they were walking to his grandmother's house.
He was a good kid, and they did that to him for no reason.
But police say there was a fight for the officer's gun.
One of those individuals at the time came as the officer was exiting his police car, allegedly pushed the police officer back into the car, where he physically assaulted the police officer.
A different explanation from the friend walking with Brown.
And the officer then reached out and he grabbed his arm to pull him into the car. So now it's like the officer's pulling him inside the car and he's trying to pull away.
Police say Brown was shot once inside the police car, but the fatal shots came later.
I saw him turn around with his arms up in the air and they shot him in his face and chest and he went down unarmed.
His stepfather bowed in grief, later holding up this sign accusing police of executing his son. The teen's mother, inconsolable. Angry residents surrounding the scene, protesting into the night as dozens of officers stand by with barking dogs to keep order. Tonight, police promise a thorough investigation into whether the shooting was justified.
It's expected to be weeks before prosecutors decide whether to charge the officer, and more calls today for an FBI investigation. Bazi Kanani, ABC News, Washington.
It was a super day outside today. There's a super moon tonight. We turn things over to our super Danny Romero. Hey, Danny.
Well, I should have a cape, but please, no tights. Here's how it looks outside right now. That super moon just cooking. The Irvine Spectrum camera live in an HD. It's just everywhere you look tonight, man. It's a gorgeous shot down in Orange County. Beautiful. Still some clouds want to move in to obscure that sight, but for now, it's looking pretty good over the Southland. Temperature-wise, through downtown L.A., things are nice and mild tonight. It was a warmer than normal day. 84 the average high. We got to 85 downtown this afternoon. A gorgeous sunset we showed you a little while ago at 7:45. And then tomorrow, your Monday gets going at 6:12. Of course, that full moon we're showing you tonight, the super full moon. Heading towards some clouds later on. 66 the overnight low. Now, those clouds are moving in tonight. We'll be there tomorrow morning. But then what about tomorrow afternoon and beyond? I'll tell you with the live Mega Doppler 7000 HD 7-day forecast in just a bit. Jory and Giovanna. Go ahead.
There you go. Super Danny.
We know there's an S under there somewhere.
Thank you, Danny. A penguin that's being called a miracle of nature.
Still to come on Eyewitness News. Find out what makes this feathered phenom so fantastic.
And the semi-truck shuts down a major interstate, but we'll tell you why the cleanup was such a sweet treat.
Looks like fun. Thousands gathered in Washington state to try and break the world record for the largest water balloon fight. The mega balloon toss was held at the Spokane County Raceway. Unfortunately, despite their efforts, the crowd of 6,700 did not make it into the Guinness Book of World Records. The attempt was 2,200 people shy of Kentucky University's record. 8,900 people showed up for that one, throwing about 175,000 water balloons.
That looks like fun. An accident involving a semi-truck shuts down a major interstate in Oklahoma after flipping on its side and spilling its precious cargo of Rice Krispie treats. You can see the boxes of the sweet snacks spilled off the side of the roadway. Police in Midwest City say the semi-truck driver lost control and overturned. One person was treated for minor injuries. The highway reopened overnight, but it took crews until noon today to reopen an on-ramp because of the extensive Rice Krispie cleanup.
Yeah, those things get pretty sticky.
I'm sure they could have had a few kids help.
Might not be clean.
Anyway.
Just dust them off. 5-second rule. You might call her a pioneering penguin, and she owes her life to science.
The penguin is one of hundreds hatched every year at SeaWorld, but Magellanic number 184, yes, that's her real name, is the first penguin species born through artificial insemination using frozen, then thawed semen, not thawed. SeaWorld says it's a scientific breakthrough that could potentially help threatened or endangered species survive in the wild. Magellanic number 184 is now 12 weeks old.
Gotta be thawed. You'll want to turn your eyes to the sky tonight.
Here's a live look at the supermoon on the rise over the Irvine spectrum. Just gorgeous. We'll show you more of this natural phenomenon.
And some good Samaritans helped save a family after a fiery plane crash. We'll hear from the hero when we come back.
Have you taken a peek outside at the supermoon yet? You should. Definitely, because it's gorgeous. Here's a live look from our roof camera here in Glendale, or that's actually in Burbank. The moon is moving 30,000 miles closer to Earth than normal tonight. We want to see your pictures of the moon. We encourage you to post your pics of the supermoon to our ABC7 Facebook page or ABC7 weather page. You can also use the hashtag ABC7 supermoon and post them to Twitter or Instagram. NASA says there will be one more supermoon this summer, and that's happening on September 9th. But take a look tonight.
Yeah, that's impressive. But you go outside and it's even more impressive.
Yeah.
Time doesn't even look like it could be
See,
real.
now I heard that some people were not seeing the supermoon because apparently the supermoon still had glasses on in Secret Identity and didn't know it was
didn't rip
actually
off the
supermoon.
shirt yet.
That's right.
Yes.
Well, there aren't many
They're
phone
waiting for
booths
that.
up in space, so it's difficult to
There aren't
change.
many phone booths here on Earth anymore.
That's true.
They're having the same problems we are.
Okay, Danny, your turn to rip off.
Oh,
the
that's going to happen.
Super weather guy.
You'll see my little, ducky, undershirt in there. You don't want to see that. It's just bad to even think about it. Let's move on to another shot of the supermoon. Thank you, Joy Rand. Way to go. Here we go. Looking outside. This is our Long Beach camera. It's like anywhere we look, it's super. And there it is, live in HD from Long Beach. Really, do get outside and enjoy. It's one of those kind of great things you see just for free, by the way. Free. You get to really kind of take someone out for a nice night and go, there it is. I bought that. Here's our downtown camera. A few clouds moving through the sky, 72 degrees. Still a nice summer night, by the by. Great for supermoon watching. A breeze of 6 miles per hour and relative humidity at 68%. The clouds I'm talking about, that marine layer certainly, and some of that tropical moisture. We can see that tropical moisture right here towards our east. We see our marine layer clouds here. The low that's up around San Francisco with its circulation in that counterclockwise motion. That's what's bringing on shore all that marine layer clouds, keeping the temperatures at or below the average temps for this day. But over towards the east, you see this high pressure ridge. We can see that clockwise circulation there, and this high, as it moves closer to us, will start drawing up more of that moisture into our area. It's still drawn in somewhat by the low, but that high really going to drive it in tomorrow, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So our mountain and desert areas on those days have a shot at thunderstorms once again as the mugginess continues. Here's our overnight numbers. Summer lows at 64 in Fillmore, 68 in Palmdale. Highs tomorrow, clouds on the beaches, clearing by the afternoon, so we'll get to 75 at Redondo Beach. Inland areas, a lot of sunshine, but on the muggy side, so 96 Palmdale, 75 Wrightwood, a little on the humid side. Inland Empire, same, warm, and 94 for Riverside. Here's the 7-day. Powered by AccuWeather and showing your morning clouds at the beaches especially, but then warm in the afternoon. Marine layer clouds are there every morning, Tuesday through the week, and then below average temps because of that cooler marine air. But by the weekend, mostly sunny skies, 83 for the highs. For the valleys and the Inland Empire, we'll see warm, cloudy kind of conditions for Monday. That humidity still in the air, less and less as we go through the week, and numbers start moving up. So we'll feel more of that drier heat and a warm weekend up to 93s by Saturday and Sunday. Mountains, there's your thunderstorm chances along with unhealthy air. And 30% chance we'll call it for Monday and Tuesday. Still shots in there on Wednesday. And then by Thursday, Friday into the weekend, less humidity, more warm mountain highs. Here's the high desert with thunderstorm chances to start your week. And then by midweekend to the weekend, we start winding things down as far as the humidity. But still, the heat is there because, after all, it is the desert. Up to 97 by Friday and Saturday there.
Okay,
Right?
Danny, thank you.
Yep.
New here at 8, 2 men in Salt Lake City are being hailed as heroes after pulling a family of 3 from a plane just before it burst into flames. Staff Sergeant Robert Kelly says he saw the small plane take off and knew right away something was wrong because the plane wasn't getting altitude. Less than a mile after takeoff, there was a fiery crash. Kelly rushed to the scene, and so did David Lawrence.
Hit the gas because I knew he was going to hit hard. So I hit the gas, drove out there. At the same time, I was calling 911.
When we got in there, the flames were already coming in, or the heat was coming into the cockpit there, and we had to work fast.
Lawrence says a couple of minutes after pulling the victims out, the plane was fully engulfed in flames. The men say they are not heroes, but just at the right place at the right time.
I'd say they're heroes. Talk sports. The final round for the U.S. and British Open produced very little drama, a pair of blowout wins. But golf fans got a treat today as it took a sensational back nine for Rory McIlroy to make history. They teed off 90 minutes late today due to some heavy Kentucky rains that left the golf course a little soggy. Kid from Murrieta, Ricky Fowler, also made a charge up the leaderboard today. 4 top 5s in majors this season, but hasn't won. He actually led today until fading with a pair of late bogeys. Rory, just unstoppable right now. Virtually clinches his 4th major with this birdie on 17, but Phil Mickelson, who shot a 66, could have forced a playoff if he holds this chip for eagle. How close is that? So in virtual dark on 18, Rory taps in for par and the 1-stroke victory. It's his 2nd consecutive major, his 4th overall, and further proof Rory can do no wrong. Check out the save with the trophy lid. How about that? The kid is on a serious hot streak. Talk some baseball now. Milwaukee, good-looking afternoon in Wisconsin for Dodgers-Brewers. Clayton Kershaw getting the start, looking to improve to 14-2, but bad start to this one. First inning, Ryan Braun singles home Carlos Gomez. It's 1-0 Brew Crew, but that would be pretty much all he gave up all day. The Dodgers tied things up in the 3rd, then the 5th they take the lead. Matt Kemp's hit streak at 6 straight games. RBI brings home Adrian Gonzalez. Kemp raised his average 25 points since July 4th. And Kershaw did it all today. 6 strikeouts, diving catch, starts the inning-ending double play, and he gets that 14th win. Dodgers beat the Brewers 5-1 and avoid the 3-game sweep. Finally on to Anaheim, where the Angels, trying to stay awake after last night's 19-inning win over the Red Sox, but the Bats, they wanted to sleep in today. Just 5 hits off Boston starter Ruby De La Rosa, who struck out the side in the 5th. 7 innings of shutout ball for him, but Hector Santiago just as good for the Halos, so the game's scoreless until the 8th. Yoenis Cespedes, the former A, with the 3-run shot. That would be enough. Boston wins 3-1. They take 2 of 3 from the Angels.
Coming up later tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7, more of Mark Brown's one-on-one interview with a woman beaten by a CHP officer. Find out how she's doing today and how she thinks she'll be able to move forward. And a car crashes into a pond and bursts into flames. How a nearby golfer pulled the driver to safety. Those stories and all the late-breaking news on Southern California's #1 newscast, Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7.
Well, coming up here, a comeback story of epic proportions.
Still to come on Eyewitness News, one man takes a leap of faith after a jump nearly killed him a decade before.
Hey, check your Powerball tickets. A ticket sold in Manhattan Beach that has 5 of the 6 numbers from last night's draw. That ticket is worth $7.6 million. The ticket correctly matched the numbers 34, 12, 31, 51, 3, and only missed the Powerball number of 24. It was purchased at the Speedy Mart on North Aviation Boulevard.
Congratulations to whoever has that
Somebody
ticket.
out there.
Yes. Now to a story about courage and comebacks.
Base jumping is a sport that isn't for the faint of heart, but one man who nearly died when a jump went wrong has now taken a leap of faith. ABC's Byron Pitts has his story.
I've never actually been back to Twin Falls, Idaho. The time is now.
It's right here. It just haunts me.
For Lonnie Bissonnette, base jumping isn't just one of the world's most dangerous sports. Friends call it his drug of choice.
Lonnie has that type of personality where he wants to be the best.
Base jumping for me gave me a release. Everything is just so pure for that split second when you step off into nothing.
But 10 years ago, his drug betrayed him and nearly took his life. July 19th, 2004.
The 19th was an absolutely perfect day.
Good.
It was Lonnie's 1100th jump.
I knew I had messed up. I can see that I'm getting low, and I pulled my pilot chute out a split second too soon. I was hanging upside down by my right leg, and at that point, hitting the water. I could see the sunlight coming down through the water. I couldn't move anything.
Lonnie suffered a spinal cord injury, paralyzed from the chest down.
It's heartbreaking to see someone who you love reduced to half a person.
I absolutely hated my chair. The chair symbolized everything that I wasn't anymore.
Misfortune could break his body, not his soul. Lonnie Bissonnette chose to fight, face that bridge again.
Exactly 10 years to the day of my accident, I'll be on that bridge and stepping off again.
One can question his sanity. No one can doubt his grit.
My passion is jumping. And I'm just a guy that's too stupid and too stubborn to quit.
Wow.
Wow.
Byron Pitts reporting.
Thanks for watching. Join us for Eyewitness News at 11.